My husband's mistress sent me a message by mistake. I replied with a wedding invitation. Hi, everyone. Before we get into today's video, I need your help. We've noticed that the channel's reach has been dropping a bit, and one of the best ways you can support us is by subscribing. It's quick, free, and helps us keep bringing you new and interesting stories. Your support means the world to us, and together we can grow this channel. Thank you so much. Now let's get to today's story. I'm writing from a temporary account for obvious reasons, and I've changed some details to protect my anonymity. The text came through at 11:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. I was already in bed, half asleep, when my phone lit up with a number I didn't recognize. The message was short, casual, intimate in a way that made my stomach drop even before my brain fully processed what I was reading. I'm missing you. Same room tonight? I stared at it for a full minute, my heart doing that strange thing where it pounds so hard you can feel it in your throat. Then, 3 dots appeared. Someone was typing. Sorry, wrong number. Sure it was. I sat up in bed, suddenly wide awake, and looked over at my husband. Marcus was sleeping peacefully beside me, his face relaxed, one arm thrown over his head. He looked innocent. He looked like the man I'd married 7 years ago. The man who'd promised to love me forever, who'd held my hand through 2 miscarriages and celebrated with me when we finally had our daughter, who'd built this picture-perfect life with me. He looked like a stranger. I picked up my phone and typed back before I could think better of it. No problem. By the way, you'll be getting an invitation soon. The 3 dots appeared again, then disappeared. Then appeared. Then disappeared. Finally, a response. Invitation to what? I smiled in the dark, the kind of smile that has nothing to do with happiness. You'll see. I deleted the conversation, turned off my phone, and lay back down. Marcus stirred slightly, mumbled something unintelligible, and settled back into sleep. I stared at the ceiling for the rest of the night, my mind working through possibilities, probabilities, and plans. By the time the sun came up, I knew exactly what I was going to do. Let me back up and tell you how I got here. Marcus and I had been together for 9 years, married for 7. We met at a friend's barbecue, one of those summer gatherings where everyone's beautiful and buzzed and the world feels full of possibility. He was a financial consultant, charming and ambitious, with the kind of confidence that makes you feel safe. I was working in marketing, building my career, not particularly looking for anything serious. But he pursued me with the kind of focused intensity that felt flattering at the time. Flowers delivered to my office. Surprise weekend trips. Long conversations that stretched into dawn. He made me feel like the center of his universe, and I fell hard. The wedding was beautiful. The kind you see in magazines, elegant, expensive, perfect. His family loved me. My family loved him. Everyone said we were the perfect couple, and for a while maybe we were. Then life happened. The miscarriages were brutal, each one leaving me a little more broken, a little more desperate. Marcus was supportive, patient, everything you'd want in a husband. When we finally had Emma, our daughter, it felt like the universe was apologizing for all the pain. But something shifted after Emma was born. Nothing dramatic, nothing I could point to and say, that's when it changed. Just a slow cooling, like a room gradually losing heat. Marcus started working later, coming home tired, distracted. His phone became an extension of his hand, always face down on tables, always password protected. I told myself it was work stress. He'd been promoted, taken on bigger clients, more responsibility. I told myself it was new parent exhaustion. We were both running on fumes, both overwhelmed. I told myself a lot of things because the alternative was too painful to consider. But you know how it is. Deep down, some part of you always knows. There were signs, small things, a new cologne I didn't buy him, receipts for restaurants I'd never been to, a sudden interest in going to the gym, in dressing better, in taking care of himself in ways he hadn't for years. Classic stuff. The kind of thing that's obvious in retrospect, but easy to dismiss in the moment. I tried to bring it up once, casually over dinner. You've been working a lot lately. Everything okay at the office? Just busy season, he said without looking up from his phone. You know how it is. Maybe we should plan a weekend away. Just us. My mom could watch Emma. Maybe. Let me see what my schedule looks like. The conversation died there, and I let it. Because what was I supposed to say? I suspect you're cheating on me based on a vague feeling and some circumstantial evidence. I didn't want to be that wife, the paranoid one, the one who couldn't trust. So I swallowed my suspicions and played the role of the understanding spouse. The cool girl, the woman who didn't make a fuss. And then that text message arrived, and suddenly I didn't have to guess anymore. The morning after the mystery text, I woke up with a clarity I hadn't felt in months. Marcus was already up, getting ready for work. I watched him from the bed, studying him like a stranger. Morning, he said, kissing my forehead. I've got an early meeting. Probably won't be home until late. Another late night? Sorry, babe. This deal is killing me, but it should wrap up soon, and then things will calm down. Sure, I said, smiling. Good luck with it. He laughed and I got up, fed Emma breakfast, and dropped her at daycare with a kiss and a promise to pick her up early. Then I drove to a coffee shop across town, ordered a latte I didn't drink, and started planning. First, I needed confirmation. The text was damning, but it wasn't proof. It could theoretically be explained a way wrong number, coincidence, misunderstanding. I needed something concrete, something undeniable. I thought about hiring a private investigator, but that felt too passive, too slow. I wanted control of this, wanted to be the one uncovering the truth rather than paying someone else to do it. So I did what any woman in my position would do in the digital age. I became a detective. I started with the phone records. We had a shared family plan, which meant I could access the call logs and text histories online. I'd never looked before. Call me naive, call me trusting, but now I scrolled through months of data, looking for patterns. There was a number that appeared frequently. Calls and texts, mostly during work hours, but also late at night, on weekends, even on holidays. Hundreds of them. I ran the number through a reverse lookup site and got a name, Cassandra Walsh. A quick social media search brought up her profiles. She was younger than me, maybe late 20s, with that Instagram-perfect aesthetic filtered selfies, trendy outfits, inspirational quotes. Her profile said she worked in brand partnerships, which seemed to mean she got paid to post pictures of herself holding products. She was beautiful in that modern, carefully curated way. Long, dark hair, perfect makeup, a body that suggested hours at the gym and careful attention to diet. The kind of woman who makes you feel instantly inadequate, instantly old. I scrolled through her photos, looking for any sign of Marcus. She was careful, no obvious couple shots, no tagging, no public declarations. But there were clues if you knew what to look for. A photo of her hand holding a coffee cup with a men's watch visible in the corner, Marcus's watch. A restaurant I recognized from a receipt. A hotel room view that matched a work trip Marcus had taken 2 months ago. I felt sick, and energized, and coldly, furiously calm. Over the next week, I gathered more evidence. I installed a GPS tracker on Marcus's car, totally legal since both our names were on the registration. I watched where he went, noted the patterns. Tuesday and Thursday evenings, he'd drive to a boutique hotel downtown, the kind with discreet entrances and rooms by the hour. I followed him once, just to be sure. Watched him meet her in the parking garage, watched them kiss before heading inside. Watched them emerge 90 minutes later, straightening clothes, looking satisfied and secretive. I took photos. Lots of photos. Not because I needed them for court. I'd already decided I wasn't going to do this quietly through lawyers, but because I wanted a record. Proof. Something I could look at later when I doubted myself, when I wondered if I'd overreacted. I also started planning the event, because that text message had given me an idea. A delicious, terrible idea that I couldn't let go of. Marcus and I had been talking vaguely about renewing our vows for our 10th anniversary, which was coming up in a few months. It was his idea, actually. He'd mentioned it a month ago, said it would be romantic, a fresh start, a celebration of everything we'd built together. At the time, I'd thought it was sweet. Now I understood it for what it was. Guilt. Overcompensation. A grand gesture to distract from the betrayal. Well, if he wanted a vow renewal, I'd give him one. Just not the kind he was expecting. I called a wedding planner, told her I wanted to organize a surprise vow renewal ceremony for my husband. Big, beautiful, extravagant. I wanted the works' elegant venue, gourmet catering, live music, the perfect backdrop for the perfect marriage. How romantic, she gushed. He's going to be so surprised. Oh, he will be, I agreed. Trust me. I chose a date 6 weeks out, enough time to plan properly, but not so far that I'd lose my nerve. I booked a gorgeous estate venue with gardens and a ballroom. I sent invitations to everyone, our families, our friends, Marcus's colleagues, even his boss. I wanted witnesses. Lots of them. And then, with the planner's help, I tracked down Cassandra's address and sent her an invitation too. The invitation was hand-delivered by courier, elegant cream cardstock with gold lettering. You are cordially invited to celebrate the renewal of marriage vows between Marcus Pierce and Claire Pierce. Please join us for an evening of love, commitment, and truth. I debated including that last word, truth, but decided it was too perfect to resist. A little hint, a little foreshadowing that she probably wouldn't catch. I waited 3 days, wondering if she'd respond. Finally, my phone buzzed with a text from that same unknown number. I got an invitation to something with your name on it. This is weird. I typed back, my fingers steady. Come, I insist. Why would you invite me? I think it's important you're there, don't you? A long pause. Then, does he know you invited me? No, it's a surprise. For everyone. Another pause. I could practically feel her confusion, her suspicion, her curiosity warring with caution. Finally, okay, I'll come. I smiled at my phone. Wonderful. I look forward to meeting you properly. The trap was set. The next few weeks were surreal. I went about my daily life taking care of Emma, working, running errands, while simultaneously planning the most elaborate act of revenge I could imagine. It felt like living in 2 realities at once. Marcus noticed I seemed happier, more energized. You seem good lately, he said one evening, pulling me into a hug. I've been worried about you. Thought maybe you were depressed or something. Just needed to focus on something positive, I said, leaning into him, breathing in his cologne, the new one I hadn't bought. I'm planning something special. You'll see. Oh yeah? What kind of special? It's a surprise. He kissed my neck. I love surprises. I know you do, I said, and meant it in ways he couldn't understand. I was sleeping better than I had in months. The constant low-grade anxiety about whether he was cheating had been replaced by certainty. And certainty, even terrible certainty, is weirdly comforting. I wasn't questioning myself anymore. I wasn't wondering if I was paranoid or crazy. I knew exactly what was happening, and I knew exactly what I was going to do about it. The wedding planner kept me updated on every detail. The flowers were ordered white roses and calla lilies, elegant and expensive. The caterer was prepared a 5-course meal that would cost more than our original wedding. The band was booked a jazz quartet for the ceremony, a DJ for the reception. The photographer was hired. I wanted this documented thoroughly, and I'd arranged for one more thing. A large projection screen at the front of the ballroom, ostensibly for showing a slideshow of photos from our marriage. The AV technician had been very helpful in setting it up exactly the way I wanted. A week before the event, I told Marcus about the vow renewal. Surprise, I said over dinner. I've been planning something for us. A vow renewal ceremony next Saturday. All our friends and family. I wanted to do something special to celebrate our marriage. His face went through several expressions in rapid succession: shock, confusion, something that might have been panic, and finally a forced smile. Wow, that's amazing, Claire. But that's so soon. Are you sure? Completely sure. I've been planning it for weeks. Everything's arranged. All you have to do is show up. I don't know what to say. Say you're excited. Say you love me. Say you can't wait to recommit yourself to our marriage in front of everyone we know. His smile looked strained. Of course, I'm excited. It's just unexpected. The best things usually are, I said, reaching across the table to squeeze his hand. I can't wait, Marcus. It's going to be perfect. The night before the ceremony, I barely slept. Not from nerves exactly, but from anticipation. Tomorrow, everything would change. Tomorrow, the careful facade we'd both been maintaining would shatter spectacularly. I'd already moved most of my important belongings out of the house: documents, jewelry, sentimental items, anything I couldn't replace. I'd opened a separate bank account and transferred half of our joint savings. I'd consulted with the divorce attorney and had papers ready to file. I'd done everything I could to prepare for what came next. Marcus seemed nervous at breakfast, distracted. "Big day," he said, pouring coffee with slightly shaky hands. "Are you sure about all this? We could just do something simple, just the two of us." "And waste all that planning? No way. Besides, I want everyone to be there. I want everyone to see us recommit to each other." "Right. Of course." He checked his phone, typed something quickly, then put it down. "I have to run a few errands this morning. Get a haircut, pick up my suit from the cleaner." "Take your time. The ceremony isn't until 6. He left, and I knew exactly where he was going. One last rendezvous with Cassandra, probably. One last secret meeting before the charade of the vow renewal. The GPS tracker confirmed it. He drove straight to that same hotel. Good. I wanted him relaxed, unsuspecting. I wanted him to walk into that ballroom tonight feeling confident, feeling safe, feeling like he'd gotten away with everything. I wanted the fall to be that much harder. The venue was stunning. The planner had outdone herself. The ballroom was decorated in whites and golds with flowers everywhere, candles creating a romantic glow. The tables were set with fine china and crystal. A string quartet played softly as guests arrived. I'd gotten ready at the venue, with my sister and mother fussing over me, helping me into a beautiful cream dress. Not quite a wedding gown, but close. Something that said celebration and new beginning. "You look beautiful," my mother said, tears in her eyes. "This is so romantic. Marcus is a lucky man." "He really is," I agreed. My sister Sarah gave me a strange look. She knew me better than anyone, and I think she sensed something was off. "Claire, is everything okay? You seem different." "Everything's perfect," I told her. "Better than it's been in a long time." "If you say so." But she didn't look convinced. The guests were arriving. I watched from a side room as they filed in: our families, our friends, Marcus's colleagues, everyone we knew. They all looked happy, excited to be part of this romantic gesture. And then I saw her. Cassandra Walsh arrived exactly on time, dressed in a tasteful navy dress, her hair perfect, her makeup flawless. She looked nervous, her eyes scanning the room like she expected a trap but couldn't quite figure out what it might be. Our eyes met across the room and I smiled at her. Raised my hand in a small wave. She looked startled, confused, but waved back tentatively. Perfect. Marcus arrived shortly after, looking handsome in his suit, greeting guests with his characteristic charm. He hadn't seen Cassandra yet, hadn't noticed her standing near the back, half hidden behind a column. I watched him work the room, shaking hands, laughing at jokes, playing the role of the devoted husband about to recommit himself to his marriage. He was good at this. The performance, the lies. It was almost time. The ceremony began with me walking down the aisle to join Marcus at the front of the ballroom. He smiled at me, that warm, familiar smile, and took my hands when I reached him. "You look beautiful," he whispered. "Thank you," I whispered back. "So do you." The officiant I'd hired began speaking about love, commitment, the sanctity of marriage. Standard stuff. Beautiful words that meant nothing in the face of betrayal. I barely heard them. I was watching Cassandra. She'd found a seat near the back, trying to be inconspicuous, but failing. She looked uncomfortable, out of place, like she wanted to leave, but couldn't figure out how without drawing attention. The officiant invited us to share our vows. Marcus went first, pulling out a folded piece of paper from his pocket. "Claire," he began, his voice emotional. "7 years ago, I promised to love you, honor you, and be faithful to you. Today, I want to renew those promises. You are my partner, my best friend, the mother of my child. You make me want to be a better man. I promise to always be honest with you, to always put our family first, to always choose you every single day." The crowd made appreciative sounds. Someone sniffled. His mother was crying. I squeezed his hands. "Beautiful," I said. My turn. I didn't have written vows. I didn't need them. I'd been rehearsing this moment in my head for weeks. "Marcus," I began, my voice steady and clear. "Marriage is built on trust, on honesty, on the belief that the person standing beside you is who they claim to be. 7 years ago, I promised to love you, and I meant it. I gave you my heart, my loyalty, my faith. In return, you gave me lies." The room went very quiet. Marcus's smile faltered. "I trusted you," I continued, "and you betrayed me. You made a fool of me while I was home taking care of our daughter, building our life, believing in us. You made me doubt myself, my sanity, my worth." "Claire, what are you—" he started, but I held up a hand. "I'm not finished. For months, I suspected something was wrong. For months, I ignored the signs because I didn't want to believe the man I married could be so cruel, so selfish, so cowardly. And then, 3 weeks ago, I received a text message. A message that was meant for you, but was sent to me by mistake. I pulled out my phone, held it up. "I'm missing you. Same room tonight?" I read aloud. That was the message, followed quickly by, "Sorry, wrong number." But it wasn't wrong, was it, Marcus? It was exactly right. It was the truth finally finding its way to me. He'd gone pale. "Claire, let's talk about this privately." "No, we're going to talk about it right here, right now, in front of everyone who came to celebrate our marriage, because they deserve to know who you really are." I turned to the crowd. Most of them looked shocked, confused. Some were already reaching for their phones. "That text came from Cassandra Walsh," I said, gesturing to the back of the room. "She's here tonight. I invited her personally. Cassandra, would you mind standing up?" All heads turned. Cassandra looked like she wanted to disappear into the floor, but she stood slowly, her face bright red. "Cassandra has been sleeping with my husband for over a year. Tuesday and Thursday evenings at the Meridian Hotel downtown. They're very consistent. Very predictable." "This is insane," Marcus said, his voice loud now, desperate. "She's clearly having some kind of breakdown. Am I?" I walked over to the projection screen and picked up a remote. "Let me show everyone what a breakdown looks like." I pressed a button and the screen came to life. The slideshow I'd prepared began to play. Photo after photo appeared on the screen. Marcus and Cassandra kissing in the parking garage, entering the hotel together. Text messages between them, explicit and damning. Call logs showing hundreds of calls and texts. Hotel receipts. Restaurant receipts. A whole digital paper trail of an affair conducted carelessly, arrogantly, by two people who thought they'd never get caught. The room erupted. Gasps, exclamations, angry voices. Marcus's mother was crying harder now, but for different reasons. My father stood up, his face dark with fury. Sarah came to stand beside me, her hand on my shoulder. "You're a liar," I said to Marcus, my voice cutting through the chaos. "You're a cheat. You're a coward. You stood here and promised to always be honest, to always choose me, and every word was a lie. You're not renewing your vows today, Marcus. You're ending them." I pulled an envelope from a hidden pocket in my dress and handed it to him. "These are divorce papers. They'll be filed on Monday. I suggest you get a good lawyer. Then I turned to Cassandra, who looked like she might faint. And you. I wanted you here tonight so you could see exactly what you've won. Take him. He's all yours. But just so you know, I pulled out my phone again, scrolled through some screenshots. He's been texting someone else too. A woman named Rachel. Started about 3 months ago. So congratulations. You're not special. You're just convenient. I showed her the phone. Her eyes widened as she read the messages. Marcus sending the same sweet words, the same promises to another woman. You son of a bitch, she breathed, looking at Marcus. You told me I was different, that you were going to leave her for me. He's not going to leave anyone, I said. He's going to be left, by all of us. Marcus looked between us, his face a mask of panic and rage. You're both crazy. This is a setup. She's manipulated everything. I didn't manipulate you into cheating, I said calmly. I didn't manipulate you into lying. I just brought the truth into the light. Everything on that screen is real. Everything I've said is true. And everyone here knows it. I turned to the crowd one last time. I'm sorry you all came here expecting a celebration. I'm sorry I used you as witnesses to something ugly. But I needed you to see. I needed you to know. Because when Marcus tries to spin this, when he tries to make me the villain, you'll remember tonight. You'll remember what he did and who he really is. Then I walked out. Just walked right out of that ballroom, past the shocked guests, past the beautiful decorations, past the life I'd built with a man who didn't deserve me. I walked out into the cool evening air, got into my car, and drove away. Behind me, I could hear shouting, chaos, the sound of my old life falling apart. It was the most beautiful sound I'd ever heard. The aftermath was exactly as messy as you'd expect. Marcus tried calling me approximately 400 times that night. I blocked his number. He showed up at the house. Our house. Though not for much longer, and I called the police. They escorted him away and suggested he find somewhere else to stay. His family reached out. His mother apologized profusely, said she had no idea, said she was ashamed of her son. His father told me I'd embarrassed their family by making it public, and I told him his son had embarrassed their family by being a cheating coward. We haven't spoken since. My family rallied around me. Sarah moved into the guest room for a few weeks, helping with Emma, handling the logistics of separating a life. My parents hired me the best divorce attorney in the city. My friends formed a protective barrier around me, blocking Marcus's attempts to explain or apologize. Cassandra disappeared from social media entirely. I heard through the grapevine that she'd been planning to start a business with Marcus as a silent partner. That's why she'd been so invested in the relationship. When she realized there was another woman and that Marcus was never going to leave me anyway, she vanished. Good riddance. The video went viral. Of course it did. Multiple guests had recorded the whole thing on their phones, and within days it was everywhere. Woman destroys cheating husband at vow renewal made the rounds on Reddit, Twitter, TikTok, everywhere. Millions of views, thousands of comments, most supportive. Some calling me vindictive, some saying I should have handled it privately. I didn't care. I'd said what I needed to say, done what I needed to do. Marcus tried to salvage his reputation at work, but it was hopeless. His boss, who'd been at the ceremony, let him go. Apparently, the company had a values clause in their contracts, and public infidelity didn't align with their brand. He found another job eventually, but nothing as prestigious or lucrative. The divorce went through quickly. I got the house, primary custody of Emma, and a generous settlement. Marcus didn't fight any of it. How could he, with all that evidence? He just wanted it over with, wanted to move on, wanted everyone to forget. But people don't forget, especially not in the age of the internet. 2 years later, I'm in a different place emotionally, mentally, physically. I sold the house too many memories, too much history, and bought a smaller place across town. Emma adjusted better than I expected. She's young enough that she won't remember much of this, which is a blessing. I went back to therapy, dealt with my trust issues, worked through my anger. I dated a little, casually, nothing serious. I'm not in a hurry. I'm learning who I am outside of marriage, outside of being someone's wife, outside of that role I'd played for so long. People ask me if I regret it. The public humiliation, the spectacle, the drama. Honestly, no. Could I have handled it differently? Sure. I could have filed for divorce quietly. I could have confronted Marcus privately. I could have been the bigger person, taken the high road, let him save face. But why should I? Why should I protect the reputation of a man who destroyed my trust, my marriage, my sense of self? Why should I suffer in silence while he got to control the narrative? I chose noise over silence. I chose truth over discretion. I chose my dignity over his comfort, and I'd make the same choice again. Marcus tried to reach out a few months ago, sent me a long email about how sorry he was, how he'd been in therapy, how he understood now what he'd lost. He said he wanted to be friends, for Emma's sake. I deleted it without responding. We co-parent through an app. We exchange Emma at neutral locations. We're polite and cold, and that's all we'll ever be. Cassandra also reached out, bizarrely. She wanted to apologize, she said. She'd been going through something, she said. She never meant to hurt me, she said. I told her she was welcome to her guilt, but I didn't want her apologies. What I wanted was for her to understand that actions have consequences, that you can't betray someone and then expect forgiveness just because you feel bad about it. I blocked her too. The woman they call Rachel, the third woman, the one even Cassandra didn't know about, sent me a message thanking me. She'd been seeing Marcus for months, had no idea he was married, had felt sick when she saw the video and realized she'd been part of his web of lies. We met for coffee once, compared notes, laughed bitterly at how we'd all been played by the same mediocre man. She's doing well now. We're not friends exactly, but we have a strange understanding. Here's what I learned from all of this. Trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. Don't gaslight yourself into ignoring red flags just because you don't want to deal with the consequences of acknowledging them. You are not responsible for protecting someone who hurt you. Their reputation is not your burden. Their shame is not yours to carry. They made choices and they can live with the fallout. Public humiliation works. I'm not saying it's always the right answer, but in my case, it was effective. Marcus couldn't rewrite history, couldn't make me the bad guy, couldn't tell people I was crazy or vindictive because 150 people watched him get exposed. The truth was on display, documented, undeniable. You are stronger than you think. I didn't think I could do what I did. I didn't think I had it in me to be cold, calculating, vengeful. But when you're pushed far enough, when you're hurt deeply enough, you discover capabilities you didn't know you had. And finally, revenge is not always bitter. Sometimes it's empowering. Sometimes it's cathartic. Sometimes it's the thing that lets you move forward, that lets you reclaim your narrative, that lets you stop being a victim and start being a survivor. My husband's mistress sent me a message by mistake. I replied with a wedding invitation. When she realized she was walking into her own exposure and his, it was priceless. I don't regret a single thing. I'd do it all again.